You may think you know olive oil. You may believe that tiny bottle sitting on your kitchen counter is one of the healthiest, safest, most trustworthy foods in your home. But what if everything you thought you knew was wrong? What if the very ingredient you've reused for decades, especially if you're over 60, has a dark side no one ever warned you about? That unsettling question is where today's story begins. I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine a woman named Lila. She's 67 years old, a retired school teacher who once spent mornings reading stories to smiling children and afternoons grading papers at her kitchen table. She took care of her body the way she took care of her students, with patience, consistency, and love. Every day she made her salads, drizzled with extra virgin olive oil. Every evening she cooked lightly sautéed vegetables with olive oil because she had heard it was the heart-healthy choice. She believed in the Mediterranean diet. She believed in choosing fresh, natural ingredients. And she believed olive oil was one of the smartest decisions she could make for her long-term health. But what she didn't know, what she had absolutely no idea about, was that the way she was using olive oil was slowly working against her. Now, before I go deeper, I want to say this. Stay with me until the end of this video, because while the first part of this story is eye-opening, the danger I reveal in the final minutes is the one that almost nobody talks about. And for people over 60, it's not just important, it's critical. I promise you this is information you will want to know. It all started for Lila during an ordinary doctor's visit. Nothing dramatic, nothing scary, just a routine checkup. But during that appointment, her doctor asked her a question that made her laugh at first. A question she thought was silly, harmless. He asked, "How long has your olive oil been open?" She shrugged and said, "I'm not sure. Maybe a few months?" The doctor's eyebrows lowered. He leaned forward and asked again, "Where do you keep it?" That was when Lila pointed casually, proudly even, to the counter next to her stove. The place she thought was most convenient. The place where she could reach it quickly while cooking. And that was the moment her doctor's face changed. "Lila," he said gently, "I want you to bring that bottle with you next time. I want to show you something." She didn't think much more about it. She assumed he was being overly cautious, maybe a little dramatic. After all, what harm could possibly come from olive oil? People in Italy and Greece have been using it for thousands of years. It was supposed to be the safest fat on the planet, but the truth she was about to learn would flip everything upside down. When she returned home that day, she stared at her olive oil bottle for the first time with suspicion. It was in a clear glass bottle, something she'd never thought twice about. The liquid looked golden, pure, and inviting. She twisted the cap open and smelled it. It seemed fine. Maybe a little sharp, a little different from when she first opened it, but nothing alarming. She placed it back on the counter and went about her day. 2 weeks passed before she returned to her doctor with the bottle in hand. She placed it on his desk, still not understanding why any of this mattered. He didn't speak. He didn't explain. He simply opened the bottle, took one slow breath, and frowned. Then he put the cap back on, gently but firmly. "Lila," he said, "this oil is rancid." The words hit her harder than she expected. Rancid? But it doesn't smell bad. "That's part of the problem," he said. "Most rancid oils don't smell terrible. They just lose the scent of freshness. They lose the antioxidants. They lose the protective compounds your heart depends on." Then he added the part that changed everything. And when olive oil becomes oxidized, it doesn't just lose benefits, it becomes harmful. What Lila didn't know was that olive oil is essentially a fruit juice. A delicate, fragile liquid made from crushed olives, packed with polyphenols, powerful antioxidants that fight inflammation, stabilize blood vessels, and protect the heart. When olive oil is fresh, high quality, and stored correctly, it can support longevity in incredible ways. But when it's mishandled, when it's stored in clear bottles under bright supermarket lights, when it sits on a warm shelf for months, when it's kept next to a stove and heated day after day, even when the stove isn't turned on, when the bottle is left open long enough for oxygen to seep in and attack the polyphenols, then the oil decays, it oxidizes, the protective compounds break down, and what's left behind is a liquid that doesn't nourish, it stresses. For years, Lila had unknowingly replaced her salads, her vegetables, her home-cooked meals with something harmful. Something she believed was healing her, but was quietly doing the opposite. The doctor explained that oxidized oil generates compounds that trigger inflammation, constrict blood vessels, and confuse metabolic signals. Olive oil is supposed to heal the heart, not strain it. But rancid oil, fake oil, overheated oil, that's a very different story. And here's the part that shocked her the most. Studies from UC Davis have shown that over 70% of imported olive oils labeled extra virgin fail basic purity tests. 70%. Let that sink in. Some bottles are mixed with cheap seed oils like soybean, canola, or sunflower oil. Some are chemically treated to appear fresher than they are. Some are mislabeled intentionally. Some companies cut costs by storing oils in huge, overheated tanks before bottling. And many of these oils are shipped across oceans in metal containers under scorching temperatures, already degraded before they even hit the supermarket shelf. The moment Lila heard this, she felt betrayed. She had spent her entire life trying to make responsible, healthy choices. She bought the good stuff. The bottle said extra virgin. She had trusted the label. She had trusted the marketing. She had trusted the industry. But the industry had not been honest with her. That night, she went home and began researching obsessively. She found documentary clips exposing the olive oil mafia in Italy. She read investigative articles revealing the fraud behind global olive oil exports. She watched interviews with chemists explaining how oxidized oil contributes to systemic inflammation. She read testimonies from seniors who had been unknowingly consuming fake oils for years. But nothing prepared her for the most dangerous part of the story. Because while fake oil and rancid oil were shocking, the real danger, the one almost no one talks about, was how olive oil interacts with medication. Lila had been taking a daily aspirin for years. Her doctor prescribed it to protect her heart. She also took a fish oil supplement every morning, and every afternoon she poured a generous layer of extra virgin olive oil on her salad, sometimes 2 or 3 tablespoons. It seemed harmless. But taken together, day after day, all 3 substances, aspirin, fish oil, and olive oil, were thinning her blood more than she realized. Her doctor explained that extra virgin olive oil naturally contains compounds with mild anticoagulant effects. On their own, these effects are small, even beneficial. But when combined with fish oil and daily aspirin, especially in someone over 60, the result is a quiet, subtle, dangerous stacking effect. Blood becomes too thin. Bruises appear more easily. Small injuries bleed longer. And in the worst-case scenarios, this combination can increase the risk of internal bleeding, something incredibly dangerous for aging adults. Lila froze when she heard this. She remembered the unexplained bruises on her arms, the time she cut herself chopping vegetables and the bleeding took longer to stop than usual. She remembered feeling tired, foggy, strange. She had brushed these symptoms off as normal aging, but they weren't normal at all. And this is where her story becomes a message for millions of seniors around the world. So many people over 60 try their best to care for themselves. They take supplements, they try to eat healthier. They choose olive oil because doctors, articles, and friends have all told them it's the healthiest fat available. But they are never told about oxidation. They are never told about storage. They are never told about adulteration. And they are certainly never told about interactions with medication. That's why this video exists. Not to scare you, not to overwhelm you, but to give you knowledge, real knowledge, that can protect your health starting today. Because Lila made changes, and those changes transformed her life. She replaced her clear bottle with a dark, opaque one. She checked labels for a harvest date, not a best-by date. She learned that olive oil is not wine. It does not improve with age. It only declines. She used refined olive oil for high-heat cooking and preserved her extra virgin olive oil for cold dishes only. She stored it in a cool, dark cabinet, far away from the stove. She used a tablespoon, not a free pour, to avoid unnecessary calories and maintain balance with her medication. And most importantly, she talked to her doctor about how much olive oil she was consuming. Within weeks, her bruising reduced, her energy improved, her inflammation markers dropped, and she felt lighter, clearer, healthier. Now I want you to imagine your own kitchen. Where is your olive oil right now? How old is it? What kind of bottle is it in? How do you use it? How much do you pour? These small questions have big consequences. Because when olive oil is pure, fresh, and used correctly, it is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory fats on Earth. It supports the brain, the cardiovascular system, the digestive system, and even longevity. But when it's fake, oxidized, overheated, or misused, it can do the opposite. You deserve to know the truth. You deserve transparency. You deserve to be healthy, not misled. And now, like Lila, you have the knowledge you need to protect yourself. If this message opened your eyes, if it made you think, or if it left you with even one important question that could impact your health, then please subscribe to this channel. We release new senior health videos every week, and each one is designed to empower you with information vital for your long-term well-being. And now, as always, stay curious, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next video.